Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Taylor Ray, and today I am filming a little video comparing life in Seattle versus life in Los Angeles. For my regular subscribers, I want to give you guys a quick update. However, if you're new here and you're just looking for the facts, please skip ahead. I wanted to film this video. I actually did film this video when I was in Boston in June because I stopped over in LA there and back. Going back in June was really the first time since the move, and it was definitely like a weird feeling. I went back and I was like, whoa, I have a lot of emotions that I want to sort of like put on paper, which turned into this video concept. Anyways, I've been inspired because I've received some comments and messages regarding my apartment hunting video here in Seattle. I've already been inspired to film again, especially this video, but motivation is a different thing, especially somebody who works a full-time job. I'm 9 to 5, I work in an office, and I'm very grateful for that job, but you know, as I had experienced in the past when I first started my channel, I don't always have this energy after work, but I had a spark to film, so I wanted to lean into that, and I'm glad that I did. So here we are. I want to start the video off by talking about the things that I miss about LA already and like have been. Straight away, obviously I miss my friendships there. I feel like I've gotten closer to some people since leaving, which I already knew that was gonna happen because it's life. It's like you'll move away and you'll end up seeing somebody more than when you lived right next door to them. I do miss the food, especially a couple months ago. I was just like craving everything, and I would even like look it up on maps, and I'm like, of course it's only in LA. So I'm still trying to figure out my like go-tos here. I have a few here in Seattle when I feel like eating out, so I'm glad for that. I also really miss living in a major city, and that's kind of like a hard one to explain, so I guess I'll just leave it at like the energy of a major city. That's definitely something that I have felt since moving. So those are the things like 8 months into living in Seattle that I do miss about living in Los Angeles. So with all that being said, of course there are things here that I definitely prefer over Los Angeles. For starters, I think I prefer the people here. It's interesting. If I had filmed this 2 months ago, like when I filmed it originally in Boston, I would have been 100% I prefer the people here. But now I'm having kind of a hard time feeling like I actually fit in. I feel like after a while I stopped trying to make new friends in LA. So here I was making it a point to be social and actually like make connections again and reconnect with old friendships, but like start new ones too. And that's been great. I mean, that is literally my next point, which is it's way easier to make friends here. And I'm so grateful for the new friends that I do have. Like, they're very special to me, and I've enjoyed getting to know everybody. With that being said, it has been harder to connect with fellow creatives. Like, I've reached out to a couple people on Instagram and have received no response. And I'm like, that's so bummy, because I felt like LA was really collaborative. I felt like that was really easy. And here, people are a little bit like, I don't know if it's competitive, like I really don't know what it is yet, but I mean, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying to connect with people, but yeah, that has not been easy. Another thing that definitely shifted from when I filmed this video 2 months ago to now, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, dating here is so much easier. And here's the thing, I stand by what I originally said, which is that I do feel that the guys here are a lot more genuine, but it doesn't make it any less challenging to actually date here. And then on that note, I just am not finding myself like wildly attracted to a lot of people here. I'm not on dating apps at all right now. I haven't been for like over a month. Yeah, guys here are much sweeter, but it is still, let's move on from this conversation. This video is not about dating. The last thing I want to say on like the topic of people though is, for me, being closer to my family was like one of the original decisions to move here. Was like, whoa, you know, I've been away from my family for nearly 6 years and I would love to be close to them again. So I am so happy that I am. My mom and I hang out like nearly every weekend, and it just makes me really, really happy. I feel like that relationship is getting stronger, and for that to be like one of my main reasons to move here, and then it actually like does like better our relationship, that's forever just gonna be so important to me, and I'm really grateful for the time that we've been spending and that we have together. So again, you know, I didn't have family in LA, so very different experience for me. I didn't always feel like I needed to be close to family, so that has definitely changed over time, and I think the pandemic had like a huge role in that. That definitely like affected me when we were all in lockdown and apart. So I'm really grateful for that, and that's kind of where I want to end this like topic of people in Seattle versus people in LA. The next thing that I prefer about Seattle over LA is the public transportation. Here, I don't have a car. In LA, I had a car for a couple years and then ended up getting rid of it. Here, a lot easier to get around. I can get to really like random places on a bus, like Mercer Island or Discovery Park. Like, I can always get around, which is really nice. So I would say the public transportation here is like way better than LA, but it's just also not as spread out. Like, LA is a very spread out place. So here, like, even the places that are like kind of far away in Seattle are still not that far away, even on a bus or a train. So I am really grateful for that. I've saved a lot of money not buying Ubers and Lyfts because the train and the bus gets me everywhere I need to go. I'm also just like a true city girl at heart. So yeah, I mean, I have no shame in the train or the bus. I never did in LA. I really like utilizing that, and I'm so grateful that this city really offers it. I did like a little bus tour when I first moved here, and one of the things I learned on that bus tour was 1/3 of Seattle doesn't drive. Like, they don't have cars. And you know, maybe if LA had better public transportation, people would be more prone to use it. But yeah, it's been a nice change of pace here, and they're building more. I mean, that's the cool part. They're still expanding to get even like further north outside of the city, which is where my mom lives. I can take a train like all the way to the airport. It's possible in LA. I did it a few times. It's not a train, it's a bus, and it can be confusing, and it doesn't go to every neighborhood. So when I wasn't living in Hollywood, for example, I was like trying to get to Hollywood so that I could take the flyaway bus to LAX. So yeah, a huge difference on that front. And really the last thing that I have noticed so far that I prefer about Seattle is that I feel that I'm getting, as they would say, a better bang for my buck. So funny enough, the cost of living here isn't really much cheaper than LA. Like, I mean, I personally was surprised by that when I was really reading articles and comparing LA to Seattle, like in terms of statistics, I guess. I was like, oh, Seattle and LA are like kind of on the same level. The reason that I say I get the better bang for the buck or whatever is because like right now, for example, with my concession, I pay what I paid to live with roommates in LA. And even aside from that though, like, I'm in a nicer area and a nicer building. So even when I think about like what this unit costs outside of my concession, it is still less than what I was paying to live alone in LA. I live in a high rise, so that alone sort of elevates the building as a whole. When I compare what I used to live in, I feel like I'm getting more value for the dollar here than I ever did in LA. Plus, like, most people don't choose to live in downtown, which is actually why I wanted to make that video about it, because I feel like downtown is a really special place, downtown LA, and just being like a city person in general. So I still have a soft spot in my heart for downtown LA, but if you want to talk about where people actually want to live, which is like West Hollywood, for example, that's a very popular neighborhood to live in. It's not even comparable. Like, a building like this in West Hollywood is probably double what I pay here. So I'm only like really comparing it to downtown, but you know, where people actually, I think, want to spend their time, it doesn't come close price-wise. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm also probably saving a lot of money, as I mentioned earlier, not having to Uber and Lyft everywhere I go. So that's also kind of adding to the value, I think, of my life here overall, which is kind of cool to think about. So my camera's gonna die. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. I just wanna say 8 months later, I am still very happy with my decision to move to Seattle. I have a great excuse to visit LA now. I do not hate LA, I just don't wanna live there again. So I love that for me. And if you've been a subscriber, then you know that New York is also a very special place in my heart, and it is still on my radar. So that's a story for another time, but for now, very happy with my life here in Seattle. If you guys ever have video suggestions, don't be shy in the comments. I love to hear what you guys enjoy watching, but more importantly, what will be beneficial. So more Seattle city-based content is on the way. Eventually, we'll get some real estate content going, a little bit of travel here and there, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.